In this video, I am going to show you how easy it is to download, install, and start using Neo4j Desktop version 1.2.3 on Linux. You go to the Neo4j website. Before you start the download process, it is important to make sure that you have no web browser extensions enabled, such as ad blockers or a firewall that will prevent access to neo4j.com. At the top, you click the download button, which brings you to the download page. Notice here that we accept tracking cookies from neo4j.com. You want to install the desktop, so you click the button here for downloading the desktop. At this point, you must provide Neo4j with some identifying information before you can begin the download. So we do that, and we click Download Desktop. In the dialog that appears, you specify how you want to download. Here we save the download image. Now it detects what kind of system you are on, and it presents you with a page with the installation instructions and some getting started information, some of which we cover in this video. Keep in mind that with each version of Neo4j Desktop, the instructions on this page may change. On this page, you see the desktop key. You can copy it to the clipboard as it is used during the installation of Neo4j Desktop. Once the download completes, you must change the downloaded file to be an executable. Then you simply run the executable to install Neo4j Desktop. The setup wizard asks you to agree to the license. The next step is software registration. If you have a valid activation key, you paste it here. In this case, I have a wrong key in my clipboard, so it is detected as a problem. If you do not have a valid activation key, you need not worry. You simply enter your name, email, and organization information to obtain an activation key. This activation key gives you a license to use Neo4j Desktop for a year. If you do not want to provide your identifying information, you can click the Start 30-Day Trial button. We recommend, however, that you register so that you can automatically receive updates to the product. The final dialog is about anonymous reporting. You should click OK here, but if you decide later that you do not want reporting, it can always be changed in your Neo4j configuration. Here is the user interface for Neo4j Desktop. In Neo4j Desktop, you can create one or more projects, each with its own database or set of databases. In addition to databases, a project can contain applications. By default, the Neo4j ETL tool and Neo4j browser are available for your projects. It is possible to download and install other graph apps for your development environment. A project can also use additional libraries, also known as plugins. By default, the APOC, Graph Algorithms, and GraphQL libraries are available, which are extensions to the Cypher query language. Here we create a graph or database for this project. We create a local graph, meaning that the database will run on our local system. You must provide a password for the graph, which is something that applications use to connect to the database after it is started. You can select which version of the database you want to create, but we recommend the latest version of Neo4j. Because this is Linux, you must provide a keyring that will be used for the Neo4j Desktop application. After you have created the graph, you can either manage it or start it. If we click Manage, we see that the database is stopped. You can click the Open Folder button, which opens a Finder window for the location of the database files on your system. For a particular database, the Import, Lib, and Plugins folders are where you may add files to your installation. You can start the database by clicking this button. And here we see that it is running and that it is the active database for our project. Next, we stop the database. You can customize the name of your projects. Here we specify the project name to be Test Project. Suppose that in our development environment we want a different project that may have different data in its graph. We create a new project and name it Test Project 2. And we add a graph specifying the password for the graph. Then we start the graph for this project. Once started, in the Manage view, we can inspect the logs for this started database and view the configuration settings for this database. Suppose we wanted to use the APOC library for our application development with this database. We stop the database and then select Add Plugin. Here we select APOC to install for this project. With this database, we can now use both cipher statements and APOC library functions and procedures for our application. We start the database. A started database uses specific ports for clients connecting to it. Most applications, such as Java applications, will use the Bolt port. Neo4j browser uses the HTTP port. You typically use Neo4j browser to get started with your development with Neo4j, where you can enter cipher statements to access the database. Here is the user interface for Neo4j browser, and we are automatically connected to the currently running database for this project. This database has no nodes or relationships in it. Back in Neo4j Desktop, if you click the Graph Applications link in the left panel, you can see the graph applications that are currently available for your projects. The Notification Center has information about current updates that are available. In Settings, you can view and change a number of configuration values for your use of Neo4j Desktop, including whether a proxy is used or if you are using Neo4j Desktop offline. And here is our activation key information. We see that this software is licensed for a year. So that's a quick tour of how to download, install, and get started with Neo4j Desktop on Linux.